Chris, hello. And hi, Will.
Hi, nice to meet you guys.
Hey, good to meet you. This your
Hello.
first time, Will?
It is, yes. I'm part of the Solana Foundation or Super
Excellent,
Team
great.
Group. Yes.
Whereabouts are you based, Will?
I'm based in Vancouver, Canada,
Okay,
West Coast Pacific. I'm actually announcing the world's first Bitcoin car. And so you see in my background here, I built and manufacture electric vehicles. They're
okay.
compact single passenger vehicles. And the goal was to uh, make accessible and affordable vehicles for everyone, and so that we decentralize the process of buying a vehicle. Because buying a vehicle now is the same process as trying to buy a house, and we're trying to remove all that process by simply um, leading as leading as an example as a manufacturer um, to accept Bitcoin stablecoin, right? Native tokens and stablecoins. Um, and that way, I think if we can get manufacturers and suppliers to do the same, and I'll be my first guinea pig here, I think we can revolutionize um, the economy and
Okay.
commerce.
Sounds a fascinating area. But you're saying you're doing that with accepting Bitcoin and stablecoins, but you said you're part of Solana, did you say?
Yeah, the Solana Foundation or Super Team Group, they're helping me, assisting me. We're finishing our white paper as we speak this weekend,
Okay,
and that would enable us to submit to our lawyer and to virtual asset regulatory and such.
okay,
And our next, we want to debut it during May. So at Web Summit Vancouver, Web Summit is the largest major tech event in the world, and we just got approved by the board, um, and they're allowing us to promote the world's first Bitcoin car, and they
that's
confirmed that it's okay, and that's the board. So ZZ spoke on Collision, so they own another brand called Collision.
okay.
So Web Summit Collision, they're together, and they have a lot of major speaker that speak on these platform. They just finished Qatar, so the next few months it'll be us, and we're trying to get about 5, 6 crypto company to come in with me on the package, and I'll give them real a stake on the car. So I have 6 of these solos lined up together with
Okay.
their own company brands. That's what we're doing.
That's brilliant. And what kind of size is the vehicle then? Is it like a for one person type thing or multi occupants?
Yeah, it is a multimodality, which is it can be yes, it's for one person only, because 80% of the people commute alone.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're an Uber driver, then I totally understand. And the second is actually can be a delivery fleet vehicle, a rental fleet vehicle,
Okay.
right? And then the third option, obviously, and this is what we're doing, we're testing right now in California, autonomous driving, full self-driving vehicles.
Okay. So is that aligned with what Waymo are doing in California as well then?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll be in mass production compared to Waymo.
Mhm.
Waymo still uses very big cars.
Yeah.
We are really going back down to the basic of what transportation is, right? What
Hmm.
mobility is, rather than I, I'm carrying a golf bag with me into the car, right? This is simply to get around, go to work, make your life efficient. Grab you can grab a full grocery cart in the car because we have a frunk. So we have a trunk and a frunk, and it's a very novelty car because you've never seen this kind of car on the road. I did
Well,
send it in the group chat.
okay. That
Mhm.
sounds brilliant because something where I've been exploring about autonomous automotive vehicles is the whole concept of how much space and size and weight is wasted because everyone has like a car which is kind of a 4 or 5 seater at most, and as you say, they travel alone in it. That's incredibly inefficient, and I've always thought one day we'll end up with like pods which are big
Yes,
enough to carry 1 or 2 people. It sounds like you're going down exactly that direction, so it's fantastic to hear.
yes, we're planning to do pods,
Okay.
and in that sense, I mean, you look at in the future, the designs, space traveling. or orbital cities in space one day, you're gonna be by yourself. And you're gonna be in this little pod, and you can fly around. And so that's kind of the concept. Is I spoke to a designer and I said, let's create something that we can look at 50 years later, but bring it back here,
Okay.
right? And but you can drive it in both in two different completely era.
Mhm.
Um, and so, and our cars right now are drivable, which is it can drive in America, it can drive in Canada. It's already in UK. It is actually we're expanding to UK right now, but we're in Italy and Spain right now,
Okay.
and we're looking at maybe Taiwan next month. So we're expanding every month.
Okay.
We do have some cars in China right now as well. But our major markets would still be U.S. and Europe. They're growing market of that segment, and then China is going to be another beast because you're trying to manufacture for a billion people as well,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. And did you say you've got a paper that you're about to publish on this?
Yes, a white paper. I
Okay.
think we'll have it done today or tomorrow.
Okay. But please do share the details with me. I'd love to learn more about that.
Yes,
The-
yes, definitely. I see you're on the Telegram, so I'll just message you directly on it then.
Yep, sure thing. I can usually be found pretty easily on Telegram, WhatsApp,
Okay.
Signal, LinkedIn, everything. I
Oh,
tend to have a
perfect.
presence. But that's great.
Yeah.
Well, Will, thank you for joining. Definitely interested in learning more on that. Just nice joined by Chris as well. Just want to say hi to Chris.
Hello, Gary.
Hey, Chris, have you been on one of these calls before?
No, it's my first time.
Cool. And whereabouts are you calling in from today?
I'm calling from Germany.
Germany. Okay, excellent, great. Well, we've got Will calling in from Vancouver in Canada. I'm in the UK. You're in Germany. Whereabouts in Deutschland are you?
Sorry,
Whereabouts in Germany are you?
Berlin.
Ah, Berlin. Okay, cool. All right. Excellent. Well, welcome aboard. Will and Chris, for both of you, these sessions are very, very free format. They're totally open. We never quite know what kind of things we're going to be covering off. Really depends upon who shows up. Some weeks we have just one other person joining me, and that can be quite interesting because it ends up more like a fireside chat where we can go quite deep into what people are working on. Like, Will was already talking about his motor project, which is fascinating. Other weeks we get a few more people who join later on. We cover whatever you guys want to talk about. So I don't know, Chris, if you've come along today with any particular thoughts about things that you'd like to share or things that you'd like to understand.
Um, Basically, I just joined to know what this is all about, and I just want to see what you guys really do. So,
Cool. Okay. Well, as I say, it varies completely from week to week. Some weeks we'll talk about crypto, Bitcoin in particular. If you're into the crypto markets, you're probably aware it's been a crazy week where Bitcoin has started the week at $80,000, dropped to 60, recovered back up to 70 at the moment, and it's all over the place. Ethereum's been behaving similarly, and in fact, I think all of the cryptos basically followed the Bitcoin behavior. Some weeks we'll explore DeFi, Web3. We sometimes have someone joining who's something of a highly knowledgeable person about the Metaverse. Sometimes we'll talk about central bank digital currencies, regulation. Really, we go where the audience wants to go on this. So if there's anything you're particularly interested in or whatever, please just go ahead. Or if you're just here to listen, that's cool as well. Because what Will was talking about a moment ago about the automotive project and linking in with being able to use his new vehicles using Bitcoin stablecoins is really fascinating. I've just been joined by JT as well. JT's a regular, and JT always throws in some interesting news and views and that kind of thing. And I guess he's probably still recovering from the Clawbot, Moltbot AI infestations that have been happening in the last week. So
Wow.
how's it going, JT?
Yeah, all good. All good.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. Good. Real interesting. Got Chris calling from Germany, and Will's in Vancouver in Canada, just sharing with us the developments he's involved in around vehicles, electric vehicles, and paying for them through crypto, and really interesting stuff. I don't know, Will, was there anything else you want to describe in the project that you're working on? Because you're saying that the
Yeah,
paper is due out the next day or so.
yeah, it's pretty much coming out today or tomorrow. I just messaged you, sent a little hippo hi.
Mm.
um, so yeah, to make crypto consistent is really getting crypto into commerce, payments, transactions. So I'm actually an OEM. So 8 years ago, actually more than 8 years ago, 2016, I got involved in crypto. I was very big in mining in 2017, so I dealt a lot of GPUs, ASIC chips, um, and then around that period, I was already developing batteries for electric vehicles. And so um, my next goal, and I understand being a Bitcoiner for so long now, more than 8 years, I realized that nobody has ever tried, or a major brand that ever tried accepting a native coin or a stable coin for a product.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys know, about 8 billion people on this planet, 2 billion of them are unbanked or even debanked from their own government, right? And so, and more and more I see even in tier one countries like in the US, for example, major cities where affordability is a big issue. And people telling me they can't buy a car, they can't buy a house, they're struggling to buy food. So yeah, I totally understand that the cost of living is very high in tier one cities. But the biggest issue is buying a car. And I thought that was very intriguing that, you had a good job, you had a good, decent credit score, and an income statement. And that's how Canada is. You have to show a few things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can buy a car and save up in cash, but very unlikely because in North America here, where we are, it's $50,000 a car on average, right? And that's not including leasing. Your leasing options would almost double that eventually, right? So what we want to do is we build a car that's only 15,000 US, 15,000 euros.
Okay.
And the intent was that people can pay off within one annual salary. And we're not going to do credit score. We're not going to ask for income statements or this kind of KYC. We're going to actually treat a car like a product, but it is a legal product on the road. Like, you can drive it. You have to insure it. So from that perspective, you're just buying a car so you can insure it. Um, the reason why car companies and now banks, they treat these commodities like a house.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't pay up your house, you want to get evicted. You get notices. You get repossessed, we call it. So why do they do that? Well, they want people to pay and to get on this financial scheme, the whole system. And so I was like, why has no manufacturer or companies or suppliers willing to help these people just you know get a crypto, do a lightning wallet, and just buy a car,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's no different. You go to an Apple store, you can buy a phone, or a refrigerator is already expensive. Big TV is too, right? Well, why not a car, right? and
So
and
you're just treating it as any other consumer commodity then? It,
that's right.
yeah.
It's going back to what originally a car is. A car is to it is a privilege. It is to give people back their mobility. It is, you know, people transport. They need to uh, do errands. They need to find a job. It's inconvenient for some people in some places that don't have good transportation networks,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you do need
So
a car.
so
Mhm.
so where's the kind of the crypto connection on this? Is it simply as a means of payment?
Yes,
Okay.
payments and tokenization. So for each vehicle that we sell, it will be tokenized. That will be obviously recorded on the blockchain.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing on Solana right now, which they've been very supportive. They've given us a lot of resources, and I think we're going to submit to a hackathon as well, next I think, couple months here, few months here, couple months.
Okay.
So,
So are you looking at the vehicles being kind of like split ownership, where you're talking about fractional and tokenization in there? Are you?
so yeah. So essentially what we're doing is like this. So let's say somebody comes in, we accept, on average, if you put a deposit, usually it's $200, $1,000, right? For a new car. If so, and I've been a consumer both ways. I bought a car outright. I've also waited for a new car outright, and generally you need to put a deposit and you need to put your name on that car because they're producing in the factory right now. And so um, what we're trying to do is simply, if somebody puts a $200 Bitcoin in BTC, we accept that. We accept the volatility and honor the growth. So BTC, gets to I would say let's say $200,000 this year, or I would say a bigger deposit. Let's say somebody put a $5,000 deposit and just simply wants to pay the car outright as soon as possible. We will honor that volatility. So that could end up almost $10,000, and they just pay a $5,000 cash difference, right? If BTC drops, then we'll just actually just honor the rate for where it dropped, and if they need the card now, they can just pay the rest in cash. But in the meantime, if they don't want to, we will be a custodian. We'll do a one-to-one. We have a one-to-one refund policy, so it means whatever you put in on the original date, that rate, we will honor that one-to-one.
Okay.
Right. So, except I think some exchange they take like small transaction fees, but we are trying to work with other payment companies like a Lightning platform that does it very smoothly and quickly, and vice versa, and also work with another exchange. For stable coins, we will just simply accept those as well, right?
Okay.
And then we spoke to two banks in the Middle East and the UK, and they're willing to fractionalize and support us in terms of, because if you are a manufacturer, you got to pay your capex, right? Your operation, running a factory is not cheap, guys. So, um, the banks are willing to, or these, very crypto friendly lenders, they simply would support us on the operation side, um, um, be a part of, this fractionalized reserve. If not, they just charge what you call like a monthly, yearly interest rate,
Yeah.
and that can be paid off on differences with BTC volatility.
Well, how does it work then? Because I've seen this with a number of other projects where it's tokenization on fractional ownership of real world assets. And I see it a lot in real estate, which is the one that's often talked about. But ultimately, any high value good you can potentially fractionalize. But the legal situation quite often is that products such as vehicles, you can only have a single registered. In the UK, they're called keepers. They're not even called owners. When you register a vehicle, you only have one name on the registration document, and it's either a person or a company. So I would imagine Canada's probably got something similar, and
Yes.
US probably has. How do you overcome that if you're doing fractional ownership?
Well, it's we will hold the custodian. We'll be like a custodian. We hold that until, let's say, the customer pays in full. Not everyone's going to pay in full with BTC, for example. They might just want to do cash, which they can wire transfer from the bank, which we accept. Credit card, right? You can pay all down the rest of the amount on credit card. So that pays off the differences essentially.
Okay, so I get that in terms of a single person for the ownership of the vehicle, that works. But you're talking about fractional and tokenization in there.
Yeah. So me and the bank will be in that discussion as manufacturers in the bank. So similar to mortgage and leasing system. So if you try to get a mortgage on a home, the bank gives you X amount of dollars for your home, and because you're buying a home and you put a deposit down. So it will have nothing to do with the car owner is done. He's paid off. He or she is paid off, right? essentially what we are doing is create a little financial system that you can say like an in-house credit system, right? So that these users can actually own and buy a car. And we have banks, a couple of banks right now that we're working with in discussion with this right now. They act like as if you have let's say a Binance account and you upload crypto on your credit card, right? You can just pay everything with crypto around the world, just simply like a Visa, but your wallet has that money, right? Has that crypto basically, right?
Right. So that's still effectively an individual owning the assets. It's not splitting it across multiple
No,
owners. Is what I was thinking. Okay.
no,
It's,
yeah,
it's the same problem that I think was in Dubai. They had a while back, which is the ownership. Was actually the company doing the tokenization, not the actual users.
Yeah.
Which actually defeats the purpose of tokenization, because then the users now have to trust one entity that they are going to be the keepers of that property, for example. Yeah.
yeah. No, the vehicle is sold off completely. As it won't do anything with us because we are a manufacturer. So as a manufacturer, we once we sell the car, that's it. They keep the car. Whatever we do with our in-house, I would say, in-house investments to secure loans, to hedge against we have capex, right? As a manufacturer, so we got to pay ourselves and making sure that we run the factory, right?
So you're not tokenizing cars then?
No, we will tokenize it. The token will be yours essentially.
Okay, so it's a single token as opposed to like it's where quite often when people talk about tokenization, they think of like fractional. So typically I see it with like a real world asset, like a high performance supercar where there are 1,000 tokens, so effectively 1,000 shares in the car. You're not talking it like that. Okay. That's
yeah.
Actually,
there was another business model that we did was that we call it the next tier. The next tier is for people who can't afford a car, and the community owns a part of that car in support of this individual. So let's say this gentleman that just spoke here, JT. So JT, where do you live?
London.
London. Okay, so let's say London is a very expensive place, and a thousand what do you call it, sterling right now is super expensive. And you basically go on our platform, said, I need help. I need 15 people to give me 1,000 sterling so I can buy the solo car and drive in Europe. And actually, just so happened you guys are in London. That's why we expand to the UK, because there's a cry for help, because nobody can afford living in the UK right now, right? So that's why we're actually in the UK. I think my team is gonna leave this weekend. So actually no, they already left because it should be Monday your time, I believe. Should be crossing over.
Yeah, it's Sunday evening UK time at the moment.
I'm still struggling here with a few things. I'm sorry, on that business model that you were talking about.
Yeah, because I think you just came in. So
it's when people look at digital assets, tokenization, and so on, they tend to actually, from a business perspective, they tend to actually want to make money. Nobody's going to go there to, hey, let me help this guy in buying a car. Here is my money.
Exactly. Here's the problem.
What do I get in return? Yes, because that's what I'm struggling here. A car is not like a property. Properties go up in value. So you can understand why people want to tokenize and do all of that. In a car depreciates over time. Unless if it's a classic car or whatever, you know what I mean?
I can tell you right now, I used to work in finance, and I used to work in a family office. I manage wealth for sentiment billionaires and multi-billionaires as well. A home is not an asset. It's just a way to park your money. A home, the asset is actually owned by the bank. Majority of major banks in the world owns homes. You're paying a mortgage that you can never pay off in your whole entire lifetime. A home is not an asset. Why a car? A car is a way to move and create efficiency in the economy, which is people going to work, people buying things, people going out to meet and other people to make deals. That's different. That is more. So a vehicle is actually used to help productivity, right? A home isn't. A home is
I
a
don't
place to
disagree
live.
with you. I don't disagree with you on that, but
Mhm.
it depreciates the value. It's not an asset that appreciates in value unless if it is a classic
For the
car.
rich, it will. For the rich,
Or,
they can buy all these properties all they want. But what I'm saying is that if you truly open up and look at where you're living now in London, it wasn't what it used to be. You have a nice family, an Aston Martin, a nice house, and good jobs. It's not happening. So just keep in
no, not,
mind
no,
that.
no, 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 not necessarily. You guys
Mhm.
have a totally different vision from UK and London. That's not happens in reality, you know. Majority of people don't have such house and don't drive Aston Martins, okay? The huge majority drive cars like Ford, like any other
Yep.
person, you know. So we talk about the small minority there that in that category, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So
saying they can live that life, but I'm saying majority of people can't. Right? The reality is that they can't, right? And so we built these
So
single
majority of
passenger.
people pay their mortgage with 25 years. Okay, so that's another thing. It is an asset
No,
in
they know
UK
a
at
lot of people
least.
refinance their home and they borrow against their home because they can't keep up with the cost of living.
No, no, not
So
everybody
yeah,
refinances homes. There's people who get to the end of it and they will just pay and own a home.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you,
You
I met
understand?
a lot of people who's 65 now that can barely live and didn't even pay off their mortgage and was passed down by their own father in 1965. And I can tell you, it doesn't work. The system is broken. It never worked in the first place, right?
And certainly back in that up in the UK, there is talk now about introducing things like 50-year mortgages, and kind of like the Japanese model of 99-year mortgages, where effectively, because property is getting so expensive, you have a debt that gets passed through the generations, which is quite scary.
Yeah,
So
in Canada, you can't pay off your mortgage debt at least for 120 years, and that's on a $250,000 salary as a family a year.
mhm.
That's dual income household, and potential gains if your sons and daughter are grow up in their 20s making good money, which they can't, right? So there's about at least three generations lagging behind. The boomer generation was the best, anywhere from the 60s, 70s. That time was the best to create generational wealth, because wealth reset around that time during the war, during that period. So no, in this modern time, people actually can't afford to live in a house, right? And they can't afford to pay off all off completely unless you have families that bankrolled you and they paid off your bills for you, and that's very nice. Or you had to exit in a company, or you won a lottery. That's really the only way.
So Will, let's come back to the vehicles again because I find that particularly interesting. Are these just ordinary, as I would describe as ordinary self-driving pods, as in drivers drive them, or are you looking at the idea of them being autonomous as well?
Yeah, so our cars, it's a few models. So the first model is you drive yourself as a single passenger, a single occupancy. It can only fit one person. That's why it's called a
Mhm.
Solo. It's a three-wheel design car. I'll send more photos in a group chat later. I have a designer. He's working on a few things. But yes, and then the second is fleets, rental delivery fleets, right?
Mhm.
Like I believe we can even get down this rental cost, maybe $10, 10 quids a day, you know? And then also we have the FSD autonomous, which is similar to Wave or Waymo,
Mhm.
right? You guys over there have Wave. I think they're still in development right now.
Yep.
So you have
Yeah,
our vehicle.
and Waymo's launching in London as well. That there's a number of their vehicles that are driving around.
Oh,
Uh,
perfect. Yeah, yeah.
not to the scale of California as yet.
Oh yeah, in the U.S. it's amazing. I mean,
Mm.
they pick you up from the airport. It's just amazing. I loved it, and it cut down the cost of your Uber, your taxi driver by half,
Mhm.
more than 50%, and you don't have to pay tips. So yeah, so the our car is basically there's so much people. that don't have that kind of luxury, they simply just get in a Solo, and the Solo will help them drive within a radius, within, I would say, the inner city, right? The car has about, we use kilometers, so we're almost at 200 kilometers on our new cars. Is about 100 miles of range, of daily range. So that's enough for the whole day, for the city. And on a level 3 city charging station, you'll be able to charge at least within 3 hours, 3.5 hours. You have a fully charged car, right? So we have smaller batteries, so we don't accept the supercharger yet, but definitely level 3. Few hours, you park it somewhere, go to work, go to your meetings, and then you have a fully charged car by the end of the day, right? Yeah.
Because it's interesting as well. It's when you start looking into the automotive industry, you realize most people who commute, their commute is typically up to about 8 miles, I think it is. So they drive to a station or they drive to their office or whatever. It is remarkable when you talk about like EV range anxiety, because people are worried about them only going 200 miles or 200 kilometers even, that that's generally not too much of an issue. But it's curious as well, because I took a look at this a few years ago. The Bank of England were doing a lot of research into the future of mobility, and particularly with FSD, so full self-driving vehicles. The concept kind of changes away from vehicle ownership to mobility as a service. So I spoke to some car manufacturers on this, where they kind of recognize, as you were saying about how someone will drive somewhere to work and then the vehicle will charge up for the day. Well, in actual fact, you don't need a vehicle. What you need is a means of getting you to the office.
Yeah.
And that might be a vehicle for those 10, 15 minutes. And then someone else can use it and so on.
That's correct. Yeah. We're essentially like, if you look at we call it transit or metro system, depending what city you're in. And we act as the the neurons that are, on this network, which is our roads, the grid. So it's to get people from places and places on time and all around the city. For example, New York. If any of you guys been in New York, you cannot drive. You will have to walk, and it's generally about 20-minute walk from places to places. And because there's the way that they design the road are so narrow, and there's the population is huge. There's millions of people that live in one city, in one little this kind of small island, and basically, you would see a celebrity or a billionaire walking on that road. New York has I think the highest per capita right now of billionaires live in that city, and everyone walks. And so, but the Solo, what's really interesting because it's so narrow and defined. You can actually probably put it even in a bike lane if you want to. The bike lanes had more space and less people compared to what's on the road, and that was very interesting, right? But I'm just saying the Solo, it's nimble enough to get into many major cities without getting to that congestions. Like I was able to drive around all these big cars. The reason why these big cars they stuck there is that they don't know if they have enough room to go through another car, right? And that's what it was. It was just simply traffic bogs down to how driver position themselves on the road, and either some people aren't exiting or they don't know if they have enough space to get around this vehicle. And you're mixing with fast drivers, slow drivers, right? You're with the traffic, the commuters, things like that. So it's a huge problem.
It sounds fascinating. Will, I'd love to learn more. So
I still don't understand the tokenization part, to be frank.
It's very simple. One-to-one.
Yeah.
You buy. I'll go back down to a simple thing.
But
You
why?
buy.
Why would you need tokenization for that? You can't just have a normal data.
No, it is for consumers to. It validates the car that they own it, right? They own it on the blockchain. They get the token. You buy a card, so you don't just get a physical card. You actually get a token. In that sense, you have something recorded on the blockchain, right?
So it's a certificate of ownership that you're offering as opposed to I think when
what problem does it solve? Not everything needs to go to a blockchain. We know
Yeah.
that. That's the basic rule. Yeah. So I'm trying to understand what
if you
is
sell
the
your
problem.
car, yeah, if you sell your car, the intent is really tracking all products. Like if you go on Amazon, you order something, you have a tracking code. That code belongs to you, right? The token
Mhm.
acts as like appreciation to the buyers, right? So the buyer has something that one day I have a car and I have a token. That token could be used in other future financial models, right? But at this moment, we give them something as a way to appreciate the buyers, right? It's like kind of like getting a merch. You buy a nice car, you get a hat, you get a water bottle and t-shirt, and one day this thing will go in value for whatever reason. It's as simple as that.
it's kind of interesting because I get JT's point that I don't think at this stage it actually adds much true value. It's a means of a registration. That's great. It's a certificate of
Yes.
ownership, that kind of thing. In the future, that might become an exchangeable commodity in its own right.
Yeah,
But
we're not turning this into a casino for sure. This is
yeah.
purely an RWA play, which is a real world asset. And the goal is how do we put the virtual world and the physical world, a product together, right? And this is what all manufacturer wants to understand.
Yeah.
And second is we do have a tier 2 model, which allows for people to support and own a portion of a car. If somebody like let's say JT needs a car, he only has 1,000 sterling. Okay, we'll get 14 other guys to help him out. Done. He owns the car, but there's 14 others that have a token against his car too.
Yeah. So I guess you do that through like the way you do it with other fractional ownership of assets. You create kind of like a special purpose vehicle,
That's right.
which is the legal registered entity that owns the asset, and then you have tokens that represent ownership in that SPV. So
that's right. And you know this person because you know his wallet, you know he lives in this city. When we sell a car, we have to make sure we have everyone's identity for sure.
Okay,
Right?
I
That's the only
understand
thing we
that
keep.
now. What I'm thinking now is when you talk about real world assets, yeah, people expect something that has a value over time. Yeah. That vehicle is gonna, as soon as it gets out of the factory of stand or whatever it is, it starts to lose value immediately. Yeah. So why would I want to, be part of giving you a car? Yeah. If then the actual car is going to depreciate in value, I'm not going to get back, my token value anymore. I'm struggling to understand the concept.
So the value really, going back to what Tesla originally was and is a data company, right? Our goal is not the value of the car, it's the data with the car that we're going to have inside. That's going to be the most important value. So data recorded for us means everything because you can say the AI agents in them, in the future will be, I would say, transfer over to robotics. It will be transferred over to company that need this sort of data. So the car value is simply one, enabling people to have ownership of the vehicle so that they can get around and stay productive, right? The world GDP depends on people working, right? Not accumulating asset and leaving it there. So
I understand.
Yeah.
Will,
Once the car,
I understand all of those concepts, yeah?
So once the car
What I
goes
don't understand is as an investor, because that's what I'll become on your car that you want to buy, what's in it for me?
No, think of it a different way, JC. Because I've seen it in the UK with car pools, and there are companies who've set up who effectively it allows you to have fractional access to
that's different.
to mobility
and so on. I understand those concepts, but that's not what Will is saying.
It's kind of like
it's not shared. No, it's not shared usage. It's helping someone who needs a car.
Well, presumably, it's helping someone who needs a car as well as you might need that car. It's not like you're issuing a loan.
That's different. If then you have access to the car as well and to drive it, then that's different. Okay.
But also remember this, JT, that the more cars we have on the road and the more people that are purchasing in this way, the value is really the ecosystem, right? So if you're buying a token, it's all vaporware anyways, right? But the real play here is that you have a community. You have a real community that are helping and buying and doing as such in a way that it will become its own thing, like its own platform. That's what I believe.
Yeah,
And
I
yeah,
agree, Will. With those things, I understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I understand that you as a manufacturer is going to make money from data, etc. All of those are things I truly understand. What I don't understand is really what is the value for me as a guy who's going to buy a fraction of the car that you want to own and drive. I can't have access to it and drive it. I'm just buying a token, the value, so that you can drive the car.
I think this
The
was
car depreciates the value
yeah.
over time.
So yeah. So I
I'm
have a
gonna lose
friend.
money.
Yeah. So I have a friend. He actually just exited OKX exchange. So the guy's named Jay. He was the former CEO of one of the largest exchange in the world. Okay, OKX exchange, for example. And there's a possible chance that since this has not been done as any OEM, and those are fairly good questions, JT. Possibly this could go into a few things, such as it has the ability to go in an ICO route. It has the way to itself becoming a DeFi platform, right? So there's always constantly new platforms popping up, but we could be potentially one of the first to build an ecosystem for manufacturers and suppliers, and in a way that it could add so much value that it will become its own exchange, right? And that's actually what we're looking towards right now. And just so happen we have a former exchange CEO that left OKX and in discussion with us about that now. So that's going to be very powerful too.
I still don't understand. I understand you have all of those value from all those people. I still do not understand what's in me. What's in it for me? I'm going to lose money because the car depreciates in value. So my
You're a traditional
115
investor. I can tell you that. It sounds like you're a traditional investor. There's different appetites for different investors. This is not the project for you, JT.
No, I'm not traditional investor. I've been in this space for 14 years, so I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just talking, I'm going to buy a token.
I get it. JT, what
Yeah.
you're basically
Fine.
saying is that if you're not going to drive the vehicle and you're not going to have access to the vehicle, what's in it for you to buy a share in it, effectively?
Yes, and because if the vehicle increases in value, I understand. Yeah, I'm getting 1/15 of the car. The car becomes a collectible, a collector's car. Then I understand there's an appreciation in value for the car. But a car, like 99.99% of the cars, they lose value as soon as they get out of the stand. As soon as they are sold. Yeah, so. I'm struggling to understand why would anyone wants to help someone to buy a car if I'm not going to get any value from it. Yeah,
Well, that's where tokenization will
can't
come
get
in.
it.
Yeah, tokenization comes in, and just like any other company that tokenized their product, because of some technology, some privacy or increase in fast payments and such, right? So again, that's the belief, and that's how all these coins got on the exchange during and through an ICO.
No.
Right.
No, wrong, Will. Utility of the token.
Yes.
That's what drives companies to have that. There's no utility in this token. Yeah, that's only one utility for this token is for someone who drives it, not for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we're not on the buy and sell, highs and lows. No, we're developing something that is completely novel. It is new. It is for the first time where crypto, the buy, sell, low, and high, that play is done, right? Crypto now is just you buy and hold. That's it. And everybody that play that game all lost money anyways, right? It doesn't make sense. Now it's going into payments, tokenization, RWA projects. That is the next step. That's the next revolution of this industry, right? So, I think Gary, when I send you the white paper, what JT said, we can add those comments, and I'll actually have my team from the super team from Solana, they can, I would say, update that, and so that we have someone like JT who's asking these questions, we can actually answer it, right?
Yeah, there's one thing. If you let me now explain something, I will do it very quickly, Gabby. Okay, let me just go end to end. So you
actually we should ask, how will you solve it? Maybe that would be the better question.
Let me just say this, for 2 minutes, okay? Without interrupting me, I'm going to explain what I wrote in a blog in 2018. Yeah. So I predicted something that Gary already touched a little bit, that vehicles, cars in the future are going. Why people own a car is to take you from A to B, or for pleasure of driving. There's no other reason. Yeah. A to B, pleasure of driving. That's it. Okay. Now, as cars become autonomous and more with AI now becoming a little bit better and clever, those autonomous cars are going to be considered as safer than actual people who drive the cars. Yeah. So I foresee in the future that humans kills people. Yeah. And autonomous cars don't. Yeah. They cause the accidents. Autonomous cars, less and less will be causing that. So what we will see is a future of autonomous cars. You just need a app, that you call one, and there will be always one near you in the next 1 to 2 minutes. And I predicted at the time that whoever is going to be the first company to have autonomous cars, they will probably acquire Uber, or the other way around, because Uber has already done the hard bit, which is to go all around the world to the cities, and they've been doing that for quite some time. Yeah, so it's embedded already. So what happens then? Ownership of cars. The cars will become very expensive for anybody who owns them, because the insurance will increase tremendously, because humans cause accidents, humans kill people in accidents, so the insurance will be more and more expensive. Yeah. So there's going to be less and less people having the ability to drive cars. And what you will see is also the concept of car manufacturing disappear, because, when you call a car in an app, you have to take it from A to B. You just want comfortable, maybe a little bit luxury. Yeah. So it will be kind of a standardized. You're not going to call, oh, I want a Mercedes, or I want a Rolls Royce or whatever. Yes, there will be luxury cars, there will be mid-level, and there will be cheaper cars. Yeah, but the concept of manufacturers will disappear over time. Yeah. So what you will see is completely transformation in the automotive space, where it will be just basically autonomous cars manufacturers. Yeah. And they will own, or the other way around, the actual app that allows users to call any vehicle wherever they are. This is going to happen. It's a question of time now. 5-10 years, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, as a manufacturer, I can agree and disagree on some. So first, again, is density issue. Where you can park all those autonomous cars? That's number one. Second is, most people, most people could take autonomous cars, but the bulk of the issue is there's going to be too many cars on the road that you can't actually deploy them, and you do have to cars are not self-maintainable at this moment right now. You do need shops to maintain them. It does need to go through service check. The more cars actually drive by themselves, the more headache there is, because there's maintenance. Okay, so you actually have to look after the car every time. Waymo has a section at night where they accumulate all the cars in a dedicated property, a dedicated lot that they have to self-maintain. So no, people will be still be able to drive inclusively or exclusively, right? Really depending. They charge their cars, they have it in their building, they have it in their driveway or such. They charge their own car. And some people, they need their own space, they need their own property, the germaphones or whatever. So they will, or even disabled people, there has to be very specialized vehicles for disabled people, for example. And so again, this is going to add more problem. The goal is to really add less car on the road, not more car on the road, right? And then second is going back to manufacturing. No, manufacturing always still exists, whether with people or without people. You always need it. Factories will exist no matter what, or else there's no way you can produce a car without a factory, which
That's
got
not what I
trained
said.
and
What I
owned.
said,
Yeah.
the manufacturers that you see today, Mercedes, BMW, BMW, whatever, yeah, they will disappear over time. And I said
Well,
autonomous,
they'll be consolidated for sure. I won't say, yeah, they're not going to disappear.
Autonomous manufacturers will then take over because there's no point in create a Tesla or Mercedes or whatever. People just need a car A to B, and you just need an app. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, manufacturing the legacy brands, they can do that. I mean, nobody's gonna compete with them in doing that. It doesn't make sense. You can consolidate brands, like you can say Japan consolidated Honda, Nissan, Mitsubishi together. Volkswagen's already done that. I mean, they have like a dozen brands under them, like Lamborghini, Bugatti, Porsche, right? Audi, right? So no, a lot of brands have. I'm not sure if you realize that the top dozen brand owns the bottom 100 brands. It's already happened, right? If you look at Volkswagen, Geely, right? You actually it trickles down, and you realize how many, or Stellantis, for example. Do you know who owns Ferrari? JT, do you know? I think he left, but
Fiat.
anyways.
Fiat
He's here.
Group.
Okay. Fiat Group. Okay, who owns Fiat?
It's that group. What's it called? Italian, starts with an A. God.
Automotor or
Agnelli.
something.
It's the Agnelli family that owns it.
Actually, Stellantis owns it.
Sorry?
Stellantis owns, Fiat, and that's right.
Agnelli family owns majority of it.
Well, and then there's Stellantis. And then so going back to Volkswagen, they own pretty much most of the luxury brands in the world.
Got to say that they've got all Audi and Porsche at least, haven't they? Folks, I'd love to carry on with this conversation, but I'm mindful that we are getting a little bit late in the day. It's definitely a really, really interesting area. Will, I think a lot of the stuff you're doing there really aligns with a lot of the stuff I've been thinking. So if your team is in the UK this week, if it's in London...
they just left.
That's a shame. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Would have been interesting to have a conversation. But if you can show the white paper when it comes out, that'd be really interesting, because that might then answer some of the questions JT has, or it might give an opportunity for more questions to be asked. So I think
what JT said is great. If you recorded that earlier, Gary. So what we can do is send the white paper, and then we can. Because there's going to be a lot of this. Once we launch version 1, there could be version 20, right? And we're going to have to answer all these questions eventually.
So the great thing is all of this is recorded and it goes up on YouTube. I'll share the link later on as well.
Oh wow! Okay.
So it gives you a nice bit of publicity as well. So people tend to watch it afterwards.
My name is Will Fan, Solo Automotive. There we are.
Sorry, Will, say the name again.
Yeah, so my name is Will Fan. I'm the executive of Solo Automotive. We are a Canadian manufacturer that builds the world's only single passenger electric car in 3 continents, such as North America, Europe, and China.
That's an awesome elevator pitch. not nicely put. That's cool. So we can check that out. And if you ping some details directly as well, I'll include that in a future thing. So that's really, really interesting. And
I would say just what I realized, we can tokenize productivity. How many productive rides people got. I think that would be huge. Yeah.
And it comes back as well, as you alluded to, one of the really powerful things about this kind of thing is actually the data you're collecting. That becomes something else, because then you work out mobility behavior, where people are going, when they're going. There are retailers and real estate property developers who are interested in that, because then they can work out where to put things like billboards, advertising, signage, or all sorts of things like that. So that's really fascinating. So Will, thank you for sharing all of that. And there will be, with all these projects, there's always questions where people go, as JT says, I don't get where the money is in this. And it sometimes takes a little time to figure that out. So that's really cool. So thanks.
It's going to be usage, power, when you use utility like actual charging stations, for example, right? Where are they going? Where's that demographic going? And that's really where the value is. And the reason why you look at why Tesla's pivoting away from two of their models, Model S and X, is simply going to Optimus robotics, right? If the car's safe on the road, the next stage is getting into the robots.
And that's it. I think we're approaching that next stage, and it's kind of interesting that the place I live is a smallish town type thing, but I'm already wondering about whether there's the opportunity of encouraging vehicles of this type as a community basis. So we're already exploring things like mutual car sharing and that kind of thing. But the vehicles like this could be really cool. Right, we'll finish off on that. I'd love to have you come back again and talk a little bit more. I just wanted, in the last few minutes, just to check if anyone's got anything else that they'd like to share or any questions. Elaine is usually the one who comes with the awesome killer question at the last minute.
No, actually, no questions this time. Just, Will, thanks so much. It's been really, really interesting. I would love to see the white paper also, if it's possible.
Oh, interesting. Okay. What Elena, tell me what you do and what's your background, so I can share this.
Oh, okay. The background would be
A master's in blockchain.
Okay, all right. A master's in Metaverse, but just I run a little real estate agency in Ireland where I live. But my interest is Metaverse and everything related.
Yeah, Elena's an expert in asking really simple questions that are incredibly important to answer. She's fantastic on that, and she grasps complex things really, really well. And it is worth having a conversation with. Yeah.
Okay, you get it from Gary then. There you go.
Yeah, we make a double act that I try and make things sound complex, and then Elena comes back to real basics, and it's fantastic. That's what she's great on that. Yeah, well, it sounds like people are certainly interested in learning more, which is great. So yeah, do share it when you have it available. Chris, I know you've been sitting quite quietly there. I just wanted to check, after having listened to all of that, if there's anything you have any questions, or you're just still digesting what the impact is, because I think Berlin's been doing some work on automotive vehicles as well, hasn't
it? But then I'm not really into the automotive sector.
Okay.
But then if you're talking about automotive, there is a lot going there here and there. There are new cars coming up. There are even people driving the ancient cars as well.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, and there's a lot going in the news. I mean, there are big companies like Mercedes-Benz or BMW. They're like about 10 to 20 different company structures across the city, and there's pretty much an exhibition that's held every once a month or twice a month. That gives a bit more detail and insight on how these things work. So,
and Germany's always been a leader in the automotive sector as well. So it's fascinating. You sometimes look at what BMW and Mercedes have been doing. Things like even using blockchain for product traceability is really, really cool. Right, folks, we're getting on the hour, which is where I like to close this off now. So I'd like to just thank everyone who's come along. Will, fascinating insights. As I say, really love to learn more. Elena and JT, as always, thanks for coming along, and thanks for asking the great questions. Chris, nice to see you dialing in. Do come and join us again. As I say, for everybody, these sessions are completely open and can be completely different on the topics we end up covering. So next week we might start talking about AI and its impact, something, or back to Bitcoin, which is always the safe one. So thanks everyone for joining. Have a great day. Be safe.